senior engineer, and he is the one responsible for making all the signals go green, red, and all the good things. And first of all, I want to welcome Charlie, especially because he is the one who is instrumental in everything that you see, experience now in Palm Beach County, and also for hiring us and putting us in this important positions. Appreciate it. Good to see you. Just to get started, this control center, the way that you see it now started in 2006, but prior to that, even going back 20 some odd years, we always had a control center, the concept of control center, where all the signals with the communications coming into the control center. And we didn't have so many cameras at that time, but the ability to watch what the intersections were doing by means of seeing the status, the green status and the yellow status and red status of the signals, that always existed. But with the technology evolving, we've been able to actually take that information and then extract a lot more measures of effectiveness that would be useful for our regular troubleshooting or operational efficiencies, or even detecting the incidents and malfunctions and everything. So we moved into this building in 2006. By 2007, we were able to populate this floor with all the electronics and software and programs and everything. We have currently close to 1,100 traffic signals in Palm Beach County. Everything except for Town of Palm Beach and City of Boca Raton, we control all the signals. State and all the municipalities. Out of the 1,100, close to 75% of all the signals are interconnected with fiber optic communications. And Palm Beach County stands today as the largest fiber optic agency in terms of the utility, in terms of connecting the traffic signals in the state of Florida at 520 miles. We have 520 miles of fiber optic plant out there, talking, crisscrossing, all sorts of things with multiple redundant paths to these signals and everything. And we have 111 cameras at all critical intersections, with a target of going up to maxing out at just 140, so we are awfully close to reaching that optimum level of coverage for the county. And a whole bunch of intersections, people who are familiar with the traffic operation and the way the controllers detect the presence of vehicles used to be magnetic induction, the loop systems, and they have been changed out over the time to optical systems, where you have the cameras doing the duty of the magnetic loops, telling the controller the presence of the vehicles. And as an added benefit, it also gives you the visual of that intersection, of that particular project where it is looking. So we have the optical, meaning the camera view of that, and also we have the detection, everything working through optical. And also, as an add-on, we can use these video detection cameras to do the counts. So the traditional way of doing the traffic counts at an intersection can be done with these video detection units by creating special zones where it would see left turns, throughs, and rights and all that. And then the accuracy we have found to be close to 95%, sometimes even up to 99% accuracy. So that's catching on very fast. And we've been able to go above and beyond the traditional uses of those video detection, and we've been able to branch out into even identifying times where there is excessive backup. So we create what's called a virtual queue loop detection, where we see demand going way beyond where that particular queue loop or the queue zone is activated, and then that trigger is linked to a particular event where it would bring up a different kind of timing plan. So technology has given us a lot more opportunities for us to expand and try a whole lot of things. And going back to traffic, for example, here, Steve just brought up a view here of a video detection camera. What you're looking at, where is this, Steve? Where are we looking at? The intersection?
This with Blue Heron and Congress.
Blue Heron Boulevard and Congress. You can see when the vehicles are moving towards you, it's going over some virtual detection zones. So they are going on and off. That is one way to actually tell the controller that there is a movement of vehicles. And also, that's the same place where we would actually install the counters. So as soon as somebody crosses the stop bar, just like the way the traditional turn-on counts are done. So at the downstream of the stop bar, you would install these special zones that would get, anytime that gets triggered, then it's going to add a count in the controller. So we always have an ability to go back into the controller database and pull up those numbers. So this is a real-time traffic data that is available. It's not twice a year that we schedule traffic counts and then collect these things. We have the ability to actually collect real-time traffic data. And we are focusing a lot more on these things. Wherever we have the mass storm signals, those are the places we are getting rid of the magnetic loops and installing video detection. All the new mass storm signals that are coming in, we are requiring video detection as the detection means. And what we see is probably within the next 4 or 5 years or so, this number is definitely going to go up from what we have right now. Just about 10–12% of our signals are video detection. So it's definitely going to go to 25–30% of our signals. So to that extent, not only it gives you the real-time data, but also gives you status of the operation and the end of the backup and all those things. You know, right now, if in case this is not just limited to Palm Beach County. The way the maintaining agencies react to field conditions is somebody has to pick up a phone and call. Such and such location has a bad problem, you know, there's too much delay or too much backup or long queues or whatsoever. I mean, I'm not progressing, I'm stopping here, what's this? So that has been the only way for the agencies to find out if there is a problem in the field. But with this technology, even before somebody actually picked up the phone and called us, we have a way to find out because it's going to prompt us. And let's go back and quickly look at our signal system database. As I mentioned, we have close to 770 signals online. And all you see, those green dots, they are the intersections that we're talking to. So anytime you are talking to the signal, it is indicated by the green. And one of them just turned purple. So that's the one. The purple color is for railroad preemption, right? Yep. So there was a railroad preemption, the gates came down. So immediately the status changed from green to purple. So that is telling the operator that gates are coming down, it's going to stop the traffic, surface traffic. So, and then there is a little bell indication there that is an indication for alarms. And there is another screen down there that actually starts logging all the alarms. And the alarms can be anything from as simple as somebody opening up the cabinet box. If the controller, the big controller that you see at the intersection, if somebody opened it up, it is reported as an alarm. If the controller went into flash, it is reported as an alarm. If there is a detection problem, alarm. And if there is a power failure, it's an alarm. And it goes into even finer things like if in case there is a clock drift. When you're talking about coordinated system, all these intersections shall maintain the same time of day clock. And if one of them happen to drift from the sync, that is also reported here. So a lot of things that we used to run around and figure it out in the field, and by the time we go there and fix it, it usually used to take a couple of hours and all. Now all these things are available, shouting at us, saying that, look at me, this is what is going on. So that's, and this system we have had it for the past 7-8 years in its current state, but we got it just about 10 years ago. We used to have an old system called Peak Transit System, and then we migrated to a system called Nastix ATMS.now. And it's one of the more recent traffic systems out there that agencies are using these days. And when we talk about traffic signals, usually one of the complaints that we get is my green for this particular movement didn't last as long as it used to be, or it just came up and then immediately it went to yellow and red. And we used to go out there and try to see if in case we would again see that problem. You would not be, we wouldn't be able to replicate it. A lot of times we would just come back empty-handed saying we didn't find the problem. For traffic engineers, you want to find the problem. You know, the day that you find the problem out there when somebody called, that's a good day. So a lot of times, you know, we were not able to see what the callers were complaining about. But with this system, we have the ability to go back in time to see what exactly happened at the time, on the day, and the date that the caller actually was talking about. For example, Steve brought up the intersection of Okeechobee and Jog Road, starting at 1400, that is 2 p.m. It started every cycle. Every cycle it started counting and clocking and logging all the data. Just to get your attention there, you know, date, next column is the time, and the pattern is something specific to that particular time of day. Middle of the day is pattern 1, and the cycle length is 150, and then the offset, no, the split 1, that is one of the left turns, eastbound left turn is the first 29 seconds and 69. So we can tell what it actually did at, let's say, at 2 o'clock. Now we're talking 4:20, 4:25 now, so like 2 hours ago we can go back and look at it. And if in case, how far back can we go? 3-4 months these days, depending on the data size that we've been collecting.
Several months.
Several months. We have the ability to go back in time 3-4 months to be able to see if somebody complained and somebody had a problem or something. We can go back and look at it. And also, as an added benefit for the traffic engineers, if a particular movement is designed to get certain amount of green time, and if we see that consecutively that movement is going to that max limit, that's an indication for the traffic engineers that something needs to be done. That means there is that constant demand going up to the maximum limit. So that's another way this has been useful for traffic engineers too. And everybody, once we get on the road, what we want to see is just go through the green band or go through the signals, you know, one after the other, don't want to be stopping and all that. So it's called progression, and then these are called, of course, you know, green bands. You know, you want to get into that green band and you want to keep going all the way. And Steve is going to bring up the Timespace diagram that everybody is familiar with. This is not a Timespace diagram that is based on the design when we first initially designed the timing plans in the office, but this is exactly what is happening out there in the field right now at this moment. So this is real-time Timespace diagram. What you're looking at is the Okeechobee Boulevard. The ones that you are sloping away from you is the eastbound, or darker green shade is the eastbound, and then the other one going up is the westbound. So this is another tool that the system gives us to be able to identify the flow of traffic as designed. And if there is any place that we think there is a need for changing the operation, this is the #1 place where we would go and then say, oh, okay, let's modify this so that we encourage the flow. The advantages of this is, once again, it helps us improve the speeds, decrease the stops, and decrease the delays on the arterial. this is one of the most useful tools a traffic engineer would like to have. And the CCTVs. Can we go to quickly the CCTV? Can you bring up any of the CCTVs? Doesn't matter. Yeah. As I said, we have close to 110, 111 CCTV cameras at critical locations. And this is the video detection. Go to watch.light.
You can do that on the other network.
Got it. While Steve is bringing up the CCTVs, one of the advantages of the CCTV is, I'm going to step back a little bit. Connection or the communication to the traffic signals gives us the ability to not only watch what is happening out there, but also the ability to modify the timing plan remotely from this control center. So before we had the cameras, we would make a best estimate and then make a change either based on the experience or based on what the software program suggested we needed to do and all that. But there was no guarantee that whatever the implementation, whatever the plan that we implemented, ended up in a result that we wanted. So either we needed to go check it out in the field, verify if in case what the intended purpose was met, or otherwise just wait until somebody called it. But with the CCTV system, what we do is the second step, next step is once we modify the timing and download to the controller remotely from here instantaneously, now you take the help of the camera system and then see if in case the problem what you thought has been remediated or not. So you now have camera system to verify your changes, and then the signals with the communication to the signals gives you the access to the controllers in the field remotely from here. And one thing that always was a missing link was knowing these problems before people called. If we knew of a problem, either through whatever the telephone or TV or radio station or somebody picking up, or somebody telling us or whatever, then reacting to those things is great. But we wanted to actually go to the next step of knowing these problems when they are occurring in the field. That led us to a program called ESNMO. This is the new buzzword. Traffic engineering has too many acronyms, and ESNMO is the latest one. Ms. Arkan is laughing there. ESNMO stands for Transportation Systems Management and Operations. So this is nothing but active arterial management. So what we wanted to do is basically install or do some kind of installations in the field that would tell us, that would track the happenings in a real-time basis, and anytime there are aberrations or deviations from that expected trend, shout it. So that's basically the intent of that ESNMO program. So DOT District 4 spent some money and they hired a bunch of people and gave us some equipment. So we went around and we installed what's called Bluetooth transponders. This is very similar to the Bluetooth technology that's out there in your cars, where it would pick any other device that has the Bluetooth ability, so it allows you to interoperate. So this is the same technology but extended to traffic application. What it does is, anybody with a Bluetooth enabled system, whether it is your phone or your computer or your car, it logs at an intersection wherever we have this receiver. And we will have another Bluetooth device installed a mile away from it. And if in case it is clocked here and then matched there, then we know how long it has taken you to go from point A to point B. So that way we are able to get speed and travel time. Don't be worried, because I know this is number one question that will come up. So does that mean you're tracking me? No. There is no individual tracking involved here, because you have this MAC address this long, and the program or the providers that make this system available to us, they don't even tell us the full MAC address, and they don't even have full access to full complete 9-digit or 12-digit MAC address. So all it is looking for is a signature that matches the numbers, and then it says so many matches. So we are not being tracked. All we're doing is we are allowing our Bluetooth system to be useful for agencies that monitor traffic. For example, here, as part of the ESNMO, we implemented or instrumented these 3 main corridors as a test basis in Palm Beach County: Okeechobee Boulevard, Belvedere Road, and Southern Boulevard from State Road 7 on the west end to I-95, and sections of downtown West Palm Beach, and Southern Boulevard going again east towards Flagler. The various different colors that you see, Steve, if you would go on to any of the links and then just left click, it's going to pop up a window there with the statistics there. Southern Boulevard, the link is from Jog Road to Military Trail, and then the current speed is 54.1 miles per hour. Speed limit is 50. So things are beautiful. Speed limit is 50, and average speed people doing is 54. And then the travel time is 2 minutes 20 seconds. So at a snapshot, it is telling you how the road is working. And where you see different colors there, it changes color. Green is when it is within the speed limit. When link is showing numbers higher than the speed limit, then it is blue. And if it is much, yellow is getting closer to what you call typically the level of service C and D. And when it shows a red link, where, for example, you have a small link there, West Palm Beach downtown, as expected, at this time of day, you have congestion building up there on Okeechobee Boulevard between Tamarind Avenue and Rosemary. So where you have speed suffering there. So those are the places it would show red. So the operators are knowing the status of this link even before somebody called us and alerted us. So what do we do with this information? If we see a particular link changing color from one particular color to another color, and if that is expected on a daily basis, then we do nothing. But if it is something that shouldn't have happened at that particular time of day, then we jump into picture again. And Steve has a whole bunch of tricks in his bag. What he does is he will make some special accommodations and give special preference, increase the G over C ratio, and a whole lot of tricks that he has, and he will implement an alternate timing plan. And he will click, and it just goes down, and within probably 1-2 cycles, a new timing plan is in effect, and it starts remediating the issue that you got. For example, a few months ago on Okeechobee Boulevard, a RRR road project was going on, and eastbound we had the lane closures. Okeechobee Boulevard carrying 60 some odd thousand UTs, and by Military Trail is the section that you had the railroad, the RRR project going on. Yeah, that's the one. We can increase the size of it. So the RRR project started on a Monday morning, and we come to the office and we start looking at this data, And in the red line that you see is the delay recorded, and looking astronomical, and that is because we lost one of the through lanes. So all the traffic that used to be on 4 lanes now had to be shifted over to 3 lanes. So because of that, you had the spikes in the travel time for the link between Jog Road and Military Trail. So immediately again traffic engineers jumped into scene, and they started making changes to the cycle lengths and remediated that problem by giving them preferential treatment. And because of that, the delays, you can see the following graphs: next day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Within 3-4 days, they were able to make some gradual changes and tweaking and further tweaking, and they made it look as if the impacts of road closure were nullified. So this is the active arterial traffic management. This is the intent of the ESNMO.
They don't coordinate with you on time.
They do, but we cannot tell how bad the impact is going to be. So we kind of knew when this was going to happen. So we had people on the notice to watch for it. So it probably took about a couple of hours before we got our act together and downloaded it. We didn't want to make, sometimes where you can predict what's going to happen. So you can remake something and then download it and keep it ready and come back and everything is going to be on. There are sometimes you probably want to come back and see it yourself and make the right adjustment. It's one of those things.
I guess what Dana is trying to say is that you can do what they call lane closure analysis before you say what time you want to do construction. So there may be some limitation on when you close the lane. During the peak hours might be one.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and I would say that is probably how all the workings will evolve into and get influenced. I don't think anybody probably has done this and showed quantitatively the delays before and after. Sometimes you want to have a data before, and if in case you're building up your case and you're building up credibility, you want to have what if in case scenario, like in any of your traffic studies. One of the options is do nothing option. And if you did nothing, that's how it would have been. And then when we do something, you now have a data, and then to show the improvements. So for example there, 273 seconds delay for that link, and then it got reduced to 45 at the end of our changes. With this experience, we definitely would be proactive, or we would want to be proactive, we would feel more confident to be proactive in future.